But yeah, I bring this up to say that, gentlemen, you need to speak up on domestic violence. And if a woman hits you, I know your mom's told you not to hit back and you shouldn't. Report her. Name, shame. Let's have them arrested.
I guess the challenge is if a man were to try to defend himself, and I've mentioned this to you before, if, for example, if he did try to overpower her, he probably could have grabbed the bat, thrown it aside, and punched her down or something.
He could have taken it and used it on her.
Right, but in either case, when the police later show up, they'd have probably said, well, it must have been you this whole time, and so they arrest you, the man, and that's what apparently typically happens in the States whenever there's a domestic violence call. Maybe the neighbors call because some couple is fighting next door. They barge into the house and they always go for the man first without first asking questions. And I think we've come to the point where we must acknowledge that both parties can equally dish out the violence.
Exactly.
So there shouldn't always be a presumption that it's the man by default.
Exactly. And in statistics, it shows that 1 in 6 to 7 men experience domestic violence in their lifetime. So this is not uncommon.
It happened to me.
It happened? Oh my God.
Well, it was a slap though.
She slapped you?
It wasn't a baseball bat. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I got she was, my gosh, she was a black hole. The kind of person that is just so full of negative energy and just sucks all the positivity out of the universe.
Yeah.
And being around her was quite
challenging. That is such a challenge.
Yeah, and then here's the worst part. We were briefly cohabitating. So you know what that does?
Yeah.
It just breeds all the familiarity, all the contempt. So the vibes between us by this point had really deteriorated. And so I can't remember what she was trying to complain to me about, some silly thing that supposedly I said or didn't say or did or didn't do. And I'm basically just looking at her yeah, what are you even talking about, or something like that. Anyway, she gets so pissed off and then she just whacks me across the face.
Oh my God.
And I just felt like I was like Chris Rock for a minute.
I can imagine. You don't know how to respond at that moment, and you're trying to you're restraining and holding yourself back from retaliating. I can imagine.
Yeah, but she said sorry. She said sorry afterwards, and we had crazy sex.
That doesn't make it okay, Fatboy. What's wrong with you?
And you're
not helping this situation.
And I think I've mentioned this to you before, is that the reason why men tend to not leave violent or dysfunctional women is that the makeup sex is phenomenal. That she will, the way how some women say, I stick with this man because after we fight or he beats me, he buys me chocolates, he buys me flowers. You know that kind of dysfunctional thing, right? And in fact, this is why some women enjoy those violent relationships, because they are looking forward to the apologies that'll come after. For men, the apologies come via sex, where the woman, if she's the aggressor in this situation and is apologetic, will compensate by giving you the most unworldly kind of sex that you've ever experienced.
No.
And you'll forget the fact that she almost slit your throat with a knife. You'll forget the fact that she smashed your car windshield. You'll forget the fact that she insulted your mother.
No.
The sex will be that good.
It's not looking forward to the apologies. It's your attachment. It is you being trauma bond to this person, and you are also somebody who just has issues, and you need, I guess, psychological help, because you are an abused person.
I'm not saying,
and that is why you stick there. It's not that the after that the apologies or the makeup sex is going to be great, because I don't think it actually is. You're just here trying to make excuses for somebody who is treating you badly. That is not right. If somebody even just leave them, call the police.
Look, you're not wrong. I'm just,
oh my God.
I'm just being real and just explaining the reality of the situation. Yeah, that and what did Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? You don't think that it was happening for a period of time? Eventually it got to a point where it was life or death. I'm sure they had to separate.
Yeah.
But for a period of the time that he was tolerating it, I am sure Amber Heard, in between taking a dump on his bed and doing other things, I'm sure she found ways of making him reconsider breaking up with her.
That is called manipulation,
and it would have had to have been through
terrible.
sex.
I can't imagine myself being in such a situation, and I hope to God never to.
If you ever want to be forgiven by a man, that's your ticket. I'm just letting you know.
I'm sorry, no. Like, I have healed, and this is a moment of growth, so I'm not going backwards. We're moving forward, and we're only going to keep people in our lives who respect and love us. Even just raising your voice like this, I've told you this before, even a man just raising his voice at me
is enough for you to call it a day?
It's enough for me to call it a day. And from there, I'm already planning my exit, because I just can't. I have seen how bad it can get. I know people who have been in very abusive, people who are so close to me, abusive situations, both male and female. And I'm like, that is not right.
Right.
Like, you have your partner throwing drinks at you in public, or screaming at you in public, or nudging your head like this in public. Like, that is not right. And I see it happen. I'm like, I can't imagine if I was.
Yeah, but
in this
what if
situation.
afterwards he says to you, all right, I'm so sorry, honey, let's go for a weekend in Paris?
And they beat you up from Paris.
Maybe,
Because that
maybe
could
not.
happen. Because that could happen. He's
But
just
yeah, you're right.
shifting you to a different location so that you can be beaten up there.
And it can only go on for so long before the violence, and it always escalates, you
Yes,
see.
it
It always
does.
becomes more and more extreme. So in this case, it must have built up for this dude, and well, they were separated.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to know when it's time to pull the plug.
Exactly.
Otherwise, your life might be in danger.